Alright, y'all, I am back with another Glitz and Glam video. This is a voiceover because I know that's what y'all been waiting on. So let's go on and jump right into it. So right here, this is a Neutrogena wipe. I always use Neutrogena. That's like the best makeup remover ever. Either the wipe, the oil, whatever. That's what I use. So I clean out the client's face, get any oils and dirt. Even though they may have washed their face, they might have broke a little sweat when they was coming up my stairs or something. So I'm gonna just, clean all that off, clip her hair back, because especially when they have like blonde, platinum, like a light color hair, because I don't like for the makeup to get on the hair, then it look all dirty and stuff. So I always put a setting powder in the eyebrows. I'm using Airspun. You can get this from Walmart, Target, Walgreens, wherever. It's like a cheap drugstore. I see my track. Don't worry about my track. I'm getting my hair done later. Anyway, so yeah, you want to just dry out the eyebrows because you don't want any oils on the brows. Because once you get to drawing it with your pencil or the pomade or even the powder, it gets to slipping and sliding. We don't want them problems. Okay, so I am using my Absolute New York brow pencil in the color Smoke. So I always start with spooling out the eyebrows, brushing them out just to make sure they're even and they're in the right shape. And I start on the bottom part of the brow, then I go to the top and then fill it in. So after filling in the brows, I go in with my concealer, and I believe on her I used LA Pro Conceal in the color Fawn and Tarte Tape Shape in the color Medium Tan Sand, mixing those together to get like the right color for her. Now here, I'm not sure if y'all can see that, but she got like a little gap between her brow and the concealer that I'm finna fill in, because if I was to go up with concealer, the shape would look forced and not as natural. So I'm gonna just fill that little gap in and call it a day. So with the concealer, you always want to blend out your edges. Like, you don't want to let it sit for too long, because once it sits and it starts to like dry into the skin, it's gonna be hard to get that harsh line out. All right, so y'all know how bad I am at the ankles, so I feel like I deserve an E for effort because I turned her head for y'all so I can show y'all how to cover out this eyebrow, and I just moved my head out the way to show y'all what's good. And as always, I start under the arch, going towards the end, and then I start to come up towards the front after I finish the end of the brow. After I finish shaping the brow on the bottom, I go ahead and cover the whole lid with concealer, a nice even layer. It does not have to be too thick of a layer, because I'm also gonna go in with eyeshadow primer as well. So just make sure it's even, it's well blended out. There are no harsh lines or anything. And I know it may look like I was just beating this girl eye in, but I wasn't. I'm really, really lightheaded. My clients tell me all the time I'm too lightheaded, and that's why they fall asleep. I'm telling y'all, I was not hurting her. And here, I'm just basically correcting everything, because sometimes the end of it's the track for me. But sometimes the ends of my eyebrows aren't even. Like, one may be higher than the other, or one may have more of a curve than the other. So I always just go and fix that in whenever I'm done, making sure it's all, the concealer is even on her eyes. And so now I'm doing the top, and I believe for her top I just used all fine and just like a little bit of what I had left of the medium tan sand on my hand. Here, you're going to see me use a beauty blender right after I already used my little buffing brush. That's because I want this concealer to be as blended into the skin as possible. Like, you can barely see, where the concealer stops and her skin starts, basically. Like, no harsh lines. I'm telling y'all, if y'all let this Tarte Tape Shape Concealer set, without buffing it out, it's going to leave a harsh line under the makeup. Like, you will be able to see it. All right, y'all. So now we are starting with eyeshadow. I ain't hold up not one palette. I ain't show y'all not one brush number or nothing. But I use the same brushes. I believe this is the M535 brush from Morphe. And the other brush that I would use is the M433. I only use like 2 or 3 different brushes. Like, I got about 10 of each of those brushes. But I do know that this shade that I'm using is the color Pecan from the Zulu palette by Juvia's Place. This is my favorite transition shade to use. It's just the perfect shade of brown to me. I always tap. I tap to add eyeshadow. I tap to build coverage. I tap to make it more vibrant. You just tap. Every now and then I'll swipe to sort of like make sure there's no harsh lines, or swipe it up into the brow a little bit to make it like an even look. But most of the time it's always tapping motions. The next shade I'm using is like a pink shade from the Zulu palette as well. It is the matte magenta. It's at the bottom. It's like the bottom middle color that looks pink. So this is the M433 brush that I was just talking about. So I'm just tapping that right up under my brown, just to, like, you know, go ahead and start giving that gradient effect. And of course, what I do to one eye, I gotta do to the other. So right now I'm just going back and forth, making sure the pink is on there. And then I'm gonna go back with my 535 brush and the color Pecan and go right back over the pink, just like what I did when I first did the brown. It's basically just going back and forth, tapping the pink, tapping the brown, tapping the pink, tapping the brown. The more you tap, the better it blend. So I actually did go in with another 433 brush, and this is like a darker brown. I don't know what palette I got it from. More than likely another Morphe palette, but it's just to darken it up my ends a little bit. So when I do the cut crease, it's like way more defined. All right, so this is the deal. In order for me to cut the crease, I had to be directly in front of her, so I just couldn't record the footage. Like, this is what it looked like the whole time. Like, even worse, because I was covering her whole face. Like, at least y'all can see a little bit of one eye right now. But yeah, I couldn't get the cut and crease process. But this is the Inglot gel liner that I'm using to cut this crease. I use this for my glitter cut creases sometimes. If I don't have the Inglot, then I will just use concealer per usual. Now, to apply my glitter, I put Duo Glue on top of the gel liner. I usually try to go and trace the edge first, and then I just like fill in the center. I tap the edge because I just want to get rid of some of the excess glue, because you don't need a lot of glue on her lid. The more glue, the heavier it's going to be. And this is my glitter from my cosmetic line in the color Salmon. Go on and shop, go shop, go shop. Okay, glitter appreciation, because first of all, she's barely moving. And you can see this glitter dancing, sweetie. Glitter gets everywhere. It gets really messy. That's why I try not to prime the face before I do like a full glitter cut crease, because I know it's gonna get everywhere. So right here, I'm just using my Neutrogena wipe to get all the glitter off of her face as much as I can. So here I have my favorite eyeliner by Sephora. It is a mattifying eyeliner. It dries so quick. That's why I love it. Because I be having clients that be acting like they cannot keep their eyes closed. And when they open their eye, they be done spread the eyeliner. I don't got time. So This is one I always use. I think a Wet n Wild is also a good one as well, just in case you don't want to, spend a full $14 or $16 on a Sephora brand. Now, I do not have a specific way to do my wing liner because I don't do all liner the same. Some people have a thicker wing, some people have a more natural wing, some people don't get a wing at all. But I always start on my right, their left eye, because that's the side that I do makeup better on. So I do the wing on that side, and then I just try to mimic it the best way I can on the other side. While I was doing the liner, some more glitter was falling, so I'm just cleaning that up off the face again. And the wipe can only get so much, so I started to use a spoolie as well to clean off the glitter, which helped get the glitter from under her lashes. Now it's time for the foundation. Okay, so I ain't even gonna lie. I don't know exactly the colors that I use for her, but I do know that I use Fit Me and a little bit of Fenty Beauty. Honestly, I couldn't even tell y'all. Like, I probably used 338, 334 on her face with some Fenty. I don't even know, y'all, but I do know that I mixed it before I put it on her face. For the forehead, I always use a sponge instead of a brush because I don't like it to get too messy. I like to have control over my foundation and where my foundation is going, and also because she has a frontal and I don't want to get it on her lace or too far into her baby hairs. But for the face part, I used my Real Techniques Instapop face brush, and I just press. No swiping, no wiping, press. So as I'm putting on her foundation, y'all will see me switch back and forth from the brush to the sponge. The brush, it just helps me apply the foundation, and the sponge, it gives it that natural look. It like sort of evens it out. What the brush can't do, the sponge will. What the sponge can't do, the brush will. What a brush can't fit, the sponge will. What a sponge can't fit, the brush will. You get it? So just using both back and forth. Now, usually I will do the concealer before I do my contour, but today I was feeling contoury first. So this is a black opal stick. Don't know the color. I gotta work on my product stuff. But this is a black opal stick. You can get it from Target, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, the drugstore brand, you know. And basically with the contour, I'm just putting it on her cheekbones, around her forehead, on her nose, and like a little bit on the sides of her chin. Sometimes I will just take the stick and draw on the face, but I wanted it to be a little lighter today, so I just tapped it on the stick to the face with the brush. Okay, now concealer. As y'all can see, I got like 3 different color concealers in my hand. They like all different types of light shades. And more than likely, I will put about 3 different shades under the eye. So I use Nars. I use Tarte sometimes, and I've been using SmashBox. Nars and SmashBox have been my go-tos for like the past month and a half now. So I'm just putting concealer under her eyes, on her chin, the bridge of her nose, and the center of her forehead. And I'm gonna also go in and clean up her wing. I did let the concealer sit for about a minute, and I sprayed both of my brushes, the Real Technique setting brush and the Instapop face brush, with the Evian water spray. So it'll be easier for me to spread the concealer after it sort of dried down. To blend out the concealer under the eyes, I am using this new technique that I learned a couple months ago, but I'm just now starting to use it a lot more, and I just really love the way it comes out. Like, it's so clean, it's even, it's just beautiful. So I use the edge of the foundation brush to blend out the edge of the concealer, just the edge. Y'all, this be the most confusing part of makeup for my clients. I'll be like, look up, and they'll put their head up but have their eyes closed. And I'll be like, no, open your eyes and look up, but they'll keep putting their head up until I say, okay, put your head down and look up. After blending out the edges with the brush, I go in with the Beauty Blender and I blend out the concealer that's closer to the eye in the inner corner of the eye. After blending out all of the concealer, I go in with a sponge and a pressed powder. I use a Fit Me pressed powder, which is closer to her skin tone. After the pressed powder, which helps with flashback, I apply Laura Mercier translucent setting powder over everywhere that I put the concealer. For contour, I believe I use my MAC powder in the shade Deepest Darkest, and I just put that where I put her contour shade with the black opal stick. For her bottom waterline eyeliner, I am using a gel liner by Maybelline in the color black and like a angle brush. And then I'm going to use, I can't remember the brand, but it's basically a brow gel just to keep the brows in place. Benefit brow gel to keep them in place all day. Okay, now I'm just dusting off the excess powder. I didn't bake, but sometimes there's just extra powder on the face that you have to, dust off. So I use my Real Technique setting brush to dust off the Laura Mercier powder, and then I go in with my little contour brush and go back around the contour just to make sure she's not washed out or anything. Then afterwards, I go in, spray her down with the Mario Badescu spray. I think it's the rose water spray. And then I press that into the skin. This helps with flashback. People hate this little part of the makeup, but it helps with flashback a lot. I'm going to give her a nude ombre lip. So I'm lining her lip with Chestnut from MAC, which is like a deep brown. I am applying blush from a Morphe contour palette that I bought from the Morphe store. I believe it's the medium contour palette. And I just added the two blushes at the bottom left. And then I'm going to go back in with her contour a little bit to sort of blend those in together. For her highlight, I am using highlight from Juvia's Place. It's like a highlight palette. And I'm using the brown shade and the purple shade for her cheeks. And then the light pink shade for under her eyebrows and the bridge of her nose. And the tip of her nose as well. For her lips, I use two different Sephora collection lipstick glosses type of things. The first one was like a pink, a really, really pinky pink. And the second one was like a regular cream nude. So these are all like the little last final touches and stuff. I put her lashes on, fixed them, a little bit of eyeshadow underneath her waterline. And for bottom lashes, I do use individual small with the knots. And I just take 3 per eye. And I use tweezers and my duo glue to put them on the bottom waterline. After everything is in place, I spray her down with my favorite Morphe setting spray. Fix the little lashes and everything. Make sure she's good to go. And voila.